So I will go to the calculator if we need to, but I'd like for us to try these first couple without it, just to practice our mental math. Also, it's order of operations. Okay, I was gonna see like where you were with that. Typically you see it as PEMDAS. That's not a word. It's just a thing to help you remember what order things go in. What does the P stand for? Parentheses. So anything in the parentheses first. E is exponent. That's the like capital 6. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Multiply, divide kind of go together. It really doesn't matter what order you do those in. And then add, subtract go together. It doesn't really matter what order you do those in. So it's parentheses, exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Yeah, and then in order left to right beyond that. Okay. So for this one, we have 1 plus, and we're going to do this part first. Do you guys know what those bars are? I always just start assuming like nothing really, but absolute value. That turns any number positive. It means a distance from 0, a distance can't be negative. So all it does is turn things positive, right? So 2 times 3 is 6. And then the absolute value of 6 is 6, all right? The absolute value of -6 would also be 6, just going to turn it positive. All right, plus, and then 5 times 2 is 10. And then you're just going to add that all up. You do the adding and subtracting last. So 17. Yeah, I guess we're having trouble with these pens. Hold on, don't walk away until you know that one works. Or this one's brand new. It should work. Oh, but it doesn't. There. Ah. So things aren't working. Just take this and throw those away. All right, let's try another one. That went well, so let's try again. 14 divided by 2. Right, 7, we're just going to practice using our brains here. All right, 7 plus, can you stop that? 6 times 3, 18, minus, you do the adding and subtracting last. I'm leaving those adding and subtracting in there. Now, what that means is 3 squared. That is not 6. Please come with me on this. It's 3 times itself. 3 times 3, which is 9. Extension question. What is 5 squared? 25. How about 7 squared? 49. Good. 7 times 7 is 49. Good. All right. And then you're going to do the adding and subtracting. So, what is that? 16? Yeah, 16. Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't count on your fingers. I do that all the time. All right. All right, down here. Oh, here's another squared. 10 squared. 10 times 10. 100. Good job. Tens are easy. You just add a 0. Now, this thing here you have not seen before. At least I highly doubt it. Instead of a square root, do you see the little 3? Please stop talking over it. Oh, good. You have heard of this. It's called a cube root. I don't expect, well, it was a good guess. I do not expect that you know how to do a cube root, but I do expect that you can type in a calculator. So can you listen to me? There's 2 ways you can do a cube root. And when you're taking a test, you can't call me over and go, how do I type a cube root? I can't help you on a test. So listen, there's 2 ways you can do it. The first way is open this little keypad down here, and you can go to functions, and you have to scroll all the way to the bottom, but it's right there. I don't like doing that. I think that's a lot of steps. So here's the shortcut for cube root. Are you ready? CBRT, cube root, CBRT, CBRT. Do you see how I did that? I wrote CBRT and it just came up. All right, the cube root of 8 is 2. All right. So again, I don't expect you to know those, but I do expect you to be able to use a calculator. All right. So cube root of 8, we type that in as 2 plus 3. Now, there aren't any parentheses shown in here, but you are dividing by this entire thing. So you have to do that adding in this case first. It's like a quantity down there. So I heard somebody say it, 2 plus 3 is 5, and 100 divided by 5. It is a nice whole number. Does anyone know that? Close. 20, good. 100 divided by 4 would be 25. Those two get mixed up a lot. All right, parentheses. 3 minus 2 is 1. Minus, now let's see if anyone knows a square root. If you don't, that's fine. I'll type it in the calculator. Square root of 81. It is 9 because 9 times 9 is 81. Follow-up question. What's the square root of 4? 2. Square root of 64. 8. Okay. Square root of 144 is 12. Good. I'm just throwing it out there. You can always use a calculator. We're having a conversation. All right. 6 times 1 is 6. And then 6 minus 9 is -3. Okay. Now, I may not do every single one of 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the sake of time here today. Maybe I'll just do 5 and 6. You are simply going to use your calculator. But if you don't know how to use the calculator, you won't get the right answer. So please listen to me. You will just type these in. However, the calculator won't do X and Y. It will do every other letter of the alphabet, but not X and Y. All you do is pick a different letter. I usually tell everyone to pick A and B. So from now on, X is going to be A and Y is going to be B. I guarantee this will happen. It happens every year. During a test, someone will call me over. It's not working because they typed X and Y. And I'm like, well, you typed X and Y. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I can't have my paper and my screen up here at the same time. So you're going to have to look. The first thing it says on the paper is 3 to the X power. Instead of X, I'm going to type A. Do you see how I did that? All right. You just need to look. All right. And then it's minus what? Can you read with me? I just want to make sure you're paying attention. We're just typing it in. Minus. Good. 5b squared. Do you see how I typed that? I changed the X and the Y to A and B. You with me back there? Now I'm going to come down to the next box down and I'm going to tell it what I want A to be. Can you look at your paper? What do we want A to equal? 3. Do you see how you read that there? And then we want B to equal. And then do you see what it says right here? That's the answer. It will literally just spit out the answer at you. Okay. -53. I'll probably just do one more of these because literally all you do is type them in. Do you want to do 6, 7, or 8? Which one looks the scariest to you? 7, I think, looks the scariest. Let's do 7. All right. So I am going to type. Let me get rid of all this. You're going to have to clear it out every time. Are you just about done with that? I thought you were putting in a pass, which is why I let it go. But otherwise, you need to have that closed while I'm teaching. Okay. So it says 5 to the X power, but I'm going to type 5 to the A. Oh, you can pick any letter of the alphabet, but I always say pick A and B. So 5 to the A power minus, who remembers how to type a cube root? We just talked about it. CBRT. Good. Cube root of, don't put Y, we're going to put B. Good. And you'll catch it if you forget that because it won't work. All right, over 3Z. It'll do Z. It just won't do X and Y. All right, what do we want A to equal? I'm just going to type them all in. 2. Good. And then we want B to equal 343. Oops. There we go. And then we want Z to equal 3. What's our answer? 2. That's it. I do not want anyone to miss those on a quiz or test. That is literally just dink, dink, dink in the calculator. Type, type, type. Okay. We'll do a couple more and then we'll do our halfway break. This is going well. We'll do this page and then we'll stop. All right. Oh, you guys have very good common sense. Believe it or not, you really do. And you've done really well with the word problems because you guys know how to read. And when I finally get you to listen to me, you actually listen. So I think this is going to go well. Listen, I know. Good job. Rob gets paid $25 for every hour he works. He makes 25. What's the important word there? It doesn't say it in there, but what word did I coach you to think of? Per. Thank you. $25 per hour. Great. Plus 75 for his travel expenses. How would you express how much he makes if he worked 36 hours? Any thoughts? I'm going to tell you the answer, but I'm throwing it out there. What do you guys think? Go ahead. 36. Uh-huh. Well, no, we're not going to have an equals. Oh. What would you want to do with the 36? Since you would times it by what? Why would you multiply them together? 25 times 36. He makes 25 per hour. He works 36 hours. But wait, there's more. We have to plus, what else does he make? 75. Good. Now you were estimating. Estimating is an important skill to have. How much do you think he made? I'm going to type it in. 745. Okay, let me see. 25 times 36 plus 75. 975. 975. Okay. But you know what? You didn't say $2 and you didn't say $4 million. Ballpark, you were good. Do you get what I'm saying? 700 wasn't a bad guess. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like you have good common sense, right? Now, how would you express it if you didn't know how many hours he worked? You would need an X. It would be 25X plus 75. And then you could plug anything you want in for X for how many hours he worked. All right, and then last one, we'll try this. The lemonade one. Briggs uses this expression, 2C minus 625, to calculate his money in dollars cash, all right, he earns for selling C cups of lemonade. What does C represent? Hint, I literally just said cups of lemonade. Most things in math, the answer is part of the question. You just have to read and pay attention, all right? What does the 2 represent? Well, if you do 2 times the number of cups, 2 times C, what does the 2 represent?
2 cups of lemonade.
Well, no, C is the cups. So 2 is what? The amount that a cup costs. Good, good. Cost of 1 cup. That was like in the previous one, how we did 25 times the number of hours. He's charging $2 per cup, all right? Now, what could the 6.25 represent? Do you see how that's getting subtracted out of his earnings? Yeah, like his costs. Do you get what I'm saying? What could be things you'd need to run a lemonade stand? Lemons, a table, ice, cups. Okay, that would all cost more than $6, but like his expenses that he had to subtract out. Any business you have is going to have business expenses, all right? How could you figure out how much he earns if he sold 30 cups? Well, you would take 30 and do what with it? Put it for C. So it'd be 2 times 30 minus that 625 for his expenses, like his table and making a sign and whatever, I don't know. And then how much did he earn for 30 cups? Let's see if we can do it without a calculator. We'll just try. 2 times 30. 60. Well, here, what's 60 minus 6?
It's 54.
54. And then minus 25 more cents. It would be, oh, you just went the wrong way, but it's 53.75 because you're subtracting it off. All right, so go ahead and flip over. Now, this next thing we're going to do is called translating. Do you know how in your language class, like science or German or French or whatever, you translate things from Spanish to English or back again? We're going to do that, except sort of like with math language. The only voice I should hear is mine. The only voice I should hear is mine. Okay? Which involves a lot of vocabulary, and same with your language classes. So we're going to go over a little bit of vocabulary here, and then we'll practice some translating. So an expression, and it's important to know the difference between these. An expression is numbers and variables all grouped together, but there is not an equal sign. It's just an expression. So like 2x plus 5y is an expression, all right? An equation does have an equal sign. It's 2 expressions that equal to each other. So the only difference is one has an equal sign and one doesn't. And guess which one has the equal sign? Equation. Okay, again, math is very straightforward with that. All right. So we're going to write down some words that these symbols mean. So what do you think when you see this symbol? What does it mean? Addition. There's a few others though. What else could that symbol mean? Sum. Awesome. And then there's one more I'm looking for. Plus. Good job. Can we stop the humming, singing, whatever? All right. Let's go through the same thing, but with this symbol. Instead of addition, it is subtraction. Instead of sum, do you know what it is? Different. Good job, guys. This is what I keep saying. You guys like you're talkative, but you know your stuff. So like at the end of the day, the grades are all right. And then instead of plus, minus. Now, we don't see the X very often. Usually you just see a little dot, or you could see parentheses, or actually just nothing at all, really. But what do those symbols all mean? Yeah, multiply, multiplication, times, and then hold on, I got to do a pass. But we had sum and we had difference. Do you know what the word is when it's multiply? Sum, difference. It begins with a P. It's products. Products. So when you see this, or just a fraction bar, that is division. Now we have sum, difference, product. Do you know what it is for division? It begins with a Q. Quotient. Good job. Quotient. All right, how about this thing? Equal, equivalent, or sometimes you'll just see is, such and such is this. Equal or equivalent, I'm not gonna write equivalent, equal, equivalent is, all right? And then we talked about these bars, that means absolute value, and it just turns a number positive is all that it does. It's a distance from zero, distances aren't negative, all right? Now, understanding the difference between these is very important. Squared means you've got that little 2, something to the second power. Square root is when you get that, it's called a radical symbol in there. So when it says root, that's when you get this symbol. People mix them up a lot, but this is the one that's the root. Cubed is the same thing, except instead of a 2, it is a 3. And then this is your cube root. Again, you don't get that little radical symbol unless it says root. Okay, it's called a radical is what that is. Like radical, dude. All right, now we're going to practice translating some of these. These are words that turn it around, so it ends up being flipped. 6 less than a number. That means you have a number, and you want 6 less than it. So x minus 6, it flips it around. Hey, how about you pick up a pencil and write this down? So 5 more than, so it's going to be something plus 5. 3 times a number. How would you do 3 times a number? Yeah, so 3x, and then you want 5 more than that, so plus 5. This got like like punched off there. What number do you want that to be? 3. Okay, we'll say 3 or is it an 8? Oh, it's an 8. Okay, we'll go with 8. 8 subtracted from a number. That would be a number x minus 8. A number minus 8. Again, it flips it around. All right. Grouping words means that you need parentheses. Grouping means you need or a hug. I call it a hug, all right? It says twice the difference. So you have 2 times something that's a quantity. So put your parentheses there, give it a hug, and then is difference add or subtract? Subtract a number and 2. So x subtract 2. That's how you'd write it. Kind of just building it, putting it together. 4 times the sum. So you're going to have 4 and then put some parentheses. Sum means what? Addition. A number cubed, so that's x cubed plus 1. Good. If it says quantity, that's another thing that'll put parentheses in there. 5 times the quantity, so 5 parentheses, a number plus 4. So x plus 4. And then if you have an absolute value, obviously that quantities it, it's what's inside the bars. Twice the absolute value. So just instead of parentheses, you'll put the bars. And then can you read what's going to go inside of it? Yeah, it says sum, so that's plus, a number plus 5. Now go ahead and flip over. I might do like the first half of these. We don't need to do every single one. You're going to do a classwork. Let's kind of just do the ones that look scary to you. We're going to go from algebraic to verbal and back again. Let's do this one. That one looks a little bit scary. Okay, I'll pick out what I feel like are the hardest ones. So you would have 1/3 a number. What is the little 2 gonna mean? Squared. 1/3 a number squared minus, good, minus 7. You have to write it out in words. Verbal means words. You should have no symbols at all. So you can't put a little numeral 7. You have to you have to write it out. Let's do one more of the writing. Which one looks scary to you? Maybe let's do something with parentheses. Or the last one there. Let's do the square root one. All right, so it's square root. Now, you have to be careful there because the entire thing is underneath. It's a quantity. So you would say square root of, and there's 2 ways you can do this. You can say the quantity, or because it's subtraction, you can say the what? What word is for subtract? Difference. So you can say square root of the difference. Or if you wanted to say quantity, you could, that's fine. Either way, square root of the difference of what? Yeah, and we're going to say subtract, or well, actually, you don't need to say subtract because we said difference. You can if you want, but you say a number. Yeah, good. a number, and 4. And if you wrote subtract 4, that's fine, but we already said difference, so that means subtract, so you don't need to say it again. And then let's pick a couple where we do the other way. Is there one of those word ones look scary to you, and we'll write it out? Quotient one? All right, 4 more than the quotient. What does quotient mean? Division. So what I would do is I would just draw a fraction bar and then plus 4. It's going to be a quotient of something plus 4. You don't need to build it all at once. You can do it piece by piece. All right. So quotient of something and then 4 more than that. We good so far? Okay. The square root of x and 9 would go there. Well, it's hard though. I don't know. I think it can be difficult. Let's do one more. Let's do the one that says difference. The difference, which means subtract, 2 times a number and 8. How would we write that? 2x minus 8. Very good, because it's difference. That means subtract. 2 times a number minus 8 equals 13. The common thing there is people then go ahead and try to solve that. Do you have to solve that? No, that's literally all that you have to do.